Hello, good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss the topic motion in a plane of 11th standard. In this topic, we are going to discuss the points which are given in this PPT. You will find here the name of the topic is motion in a plane. This topic consists of the different subtopics. The first point is given introduction to the topic. The second point is given as the rectilinear motion. The third point is given the study of motion in two dimension, that is motion in a plane. In this two-dimensional motion, we want to discuss the different points which are given here, like average and instantaneous velocities, average and instantaneous acceleration, equation of the motion, relative velocity, and the example of the two-dimension motion as the projectile motion. Also in this topic, we are going to discuss the uniform circular motion, which is an example of the two-dimensional motion. In uniform circular motion, we want to discuss the different basic quantities like radius vector, period, and angular speed. In uniform circular motion, also, we are interested to find out the expression for the centripetal acceleration and the centripetal force also. Let us discuss the introduction of this topic. Now we know, as the name of the topic indicates, the motion in a plane. So we should know what is meant by the motion. The change in position of an object with respect to surrounding in a given interval of time. It is called as the motion. If we observe, then you will get the different examples in which we can say the object is in motion. So let us consider the example like motion of Earth around the sun, motion of all the planetary system you can observe under this motion, then motion of the striker on the carom board, motion of the stone falling freely from roof of the building. These are the few examples which are given here. Now, when we discuss about the motion, this motion is mathematically described in terms of displacement, distance, velocity, speed, and acceleration. In this topic, we want to discuss all these quantities. Now, in case of the motion, you will find there is the one position of the object which is called as the rest position. If the object does not change its position with respect to surrounding with a time, then it is called as at rest. So you will find these are the two different concepts. One is a motion and another is the rest. Now, whenever we say like this, the object is at rest or object is in motion, you will find these are the relative states. It means that the object which is at rest, it is the one frame of reference, can be motion in another frame of reference. I will give you the one example regarding to this. Suppose the car is in motion, then the driver is said to be rest with the motion of the car. When we consider the car is the frame of reference. Okay. If we consider the observer outside the car, which is observing the moving car, then observer says the motion of the car. He will say the car is in motion. So the observer is considered as here the frame of reference. Okay. So you will get like this, that rest position or the motion of an object, these are the relative states. Now here you will find one concept, that is a point mass object. Now we know there are very large objects and very small objects. Here in case of the motion, we want to consider the concept of the point object. So what is mean by the point mass object? The object can be said to be or considered to be as a point mass object if distance traveled by it is a very large as compared to its dimension. Means if that object covers a large distance with respect to its dimension, then such object is considered as the point mass object. So here you will find what is the motion when we say object is at rest, and what is the concept of point mass object. Now we are going to take the detailed discussion regarding to the types of motion. Already we have seen the definition of the motion. Now first you will find these types of motion. It is considered with the help of the one-dimensional, two-dimensional and a three-dimensional. So if we consider the first type of motion, it is a one-dimensional motion. If we consider the coordinate system, then you will find in case of the coordinate system, in case of scalar and vector, we have seen the different coordinate system. If we consider x and y plane, it is called as the two-dimensional coordinate system. If we consider three axes which are mutually perpendicular to each other, like x, y and z, then it is called as three coordinate system. Now when we explain these are different motions, sometimes we use only one axis out of three. Sometimes we use two axes to explain the motion of the object, and sometimes we use all the three coordinate axes to explain the motion of the object. Okay, so in case of the one-dimensional motion, you will find only one coordinate specifying the position of the object with respect to change in time. Then such motion is called one-dimensional motion. Means only one axis is sufficient. Means you can consider suppose horizontal axis as x, or you can consider only vertical axis as y. So only one coordinate axis we can consider in this motion. So see the examples. So you will find these are the example, like motion of a block in a straight line. So only x-axis we are considering. So you will find that the vehicle which is moving along the road, or the motion of the block in a straight line. This is considered along the x-axis. The second example which is given, object falling under gravity. So we know that Newton experiment, that is apple is falling from the tree. So you will find that object is moving along a straight line. So any object which is a falling under a gravity, definitely it is a moving along the vertical axis, and that vertical axis is considered here as y-axis. So you will get here only one coordinate axis is sufficient to specify the position of an object. You will find large number of examples around us. Okay. Secondly, you will find the second type of motion, that is two-dimensional motion. Now, when we consider about this two-dimensional motion, then you will find here now the two coordinate axes are required to specify the position of the object. Now two-dimensional motion means it considered x and y axis to specify the position of object, and we know x and y, they are mutually perpendicular axis. So in two-dimensional motion, two coordinate axes are required. An example is given as the circular motion. In this topic, we'll discuss the detailed discussion regarding to this circular motion, that is uniform circular motion. The third type of motion, it is given as the three-dimensional motion. Now you will find here, this is also called as 3D motion. 3D motion means all the three axes or three coordinate axes, it is required to specify the position of the object. Okay, and so the motion is called as the three-dimensional motion. Now here all the three axes x, y and z, which are mutually perpendicular to each other, it is required here. And we know the example regarding to this, that is a flying aeroplane, the random motion of the gas molecules, and the flying birds. So you will find the flying birds, the flying kite, the flying aeroplane, or the random motion of all the molecule. It is specified with the help of the three coordinate axes. So in this case, you will find the classification of the motion, or that is types of motion. Now when we consider about these different types, then you will find again these types of motion. You will find there are different three types of motion. One is called as the translatory motion. The name itself gives idea about that. The object is moving from one position to the another. But this motion, it is nothing but the change in position of an object with respect to time. So this motion, it is called as the translatory motion. So you can take the example of the translatory motion. There are also the different types of the translatory motion also. The second is the rotatory motion. Now this motion indicates that there is an axis and all the particle of object, they are moving along this axis, like the rotation of earth about its axis, the motion of the top about its axis. So in case of the rotatory motion, the axis of rotation plays the very important role. The third motion is called as the vibratory motion. Now we know, like the needle of the swing machine, it is a moving like up and down, up and down. It is a tracing the same path again and again. It is called as the vibratory or the oscillatory motion. So you will find in this case, maybe this motion is up and down or to and fro. Means it may be taken along the horizontal axis or it may be taken along the vertical axis. Okay. Now we know the translatory motion. It is divided into the three different types. Now we know the translatory motion, the object changes its position with respect to time. So there is a first type of the translatory motion. It is the rectilinear motion. The name itself gives idea about that. The object is moving in a straight line. So when object is moving in a straight line, then such motion is called as the rectilinear motion. For example, the motion or the car in motion, the car which is moving along a straight road, it is an example of the rectilinear motion. The second example is given as the circular motion. We know the circular motion is the two-dimensional motion and the object is moving along the circumference of circle. Means the object, it changes its position along the circumference of circle. So it is also the one type of the translatory motion. We know all the planets, they are moving in a circular fashion around the sun, which is an example of this circular motion. And the third motion is given as the random motion. Now we know random motion, it is not a strictly one. So the object can move anywhere, anywhere. So the name itself gives idea about that. It is not a specified motion, but the object changes its position. Okay.